If you like what I make and want to help out the channel, make sure you subscribe to it, turn on notifications, leave a like on the video below, and comment as well. Thanks for your support, guys.
Hey there YouTube! Welcome back to the Gekko. Another video for you guys. Welcome to the channel. Another video, a top 5 Thursday video, which I said we'll do every Thursday, and after the first one we stopped doing it because we had other priorities. But we're back, and today we're talking about mistakes, as the title mentions. My top 5 mistakes that I can tell you I personally had struggles with a couple of them. Others I figured out pretty early and made sure not to make these mistakes. So we're going to go from 5 to 1, 5 being like the more forgivable mistake and 1 being the harshest one, in at least the way I see it. You guys can obviously re-rank these and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you think that my assessment is correct, there are other mistakes that I should have perhaps covered and instead of these ones. In the comments down below, you can also send me a message on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the links in the description. Now, the 5th common mistake, and I'm not entirely sure whether it fits in 5 or not, but screw it. I think that it does. It does have more long-term effects than short-term, but again, it's one of those things that are very understandable for newer players. And that is what you see on the screen right here. That's a 3-star legendary commander without skills. The top 5th priority is leveling up the star level of your commanders without having the skills maxed. Usually commanders have as their first skill the best skill, and then they have other skills that are super good as well. But you want to make sure you max out the first one usually. So as you can see in my videos and a lot of other YouTuber videos, is that they have something like these guys that they just weren't able to max out yet. So they're not even looking at them. And I have this guy Sun Tzu who's almost there. Budokai just finished, so I was like, yes, I can go to 2nd star. Herman, like, he's also a terrible mistake. You guys can see right here. I kind of said, screw it, I wanna level him up. Another thing that you can see that I made that is kind of related is that you start spreading around XP too much. You should really focus on the ones that you have the sculptures for. If you guys don't know how this works, essentially what ends up happening is when you have only 1 skill unlocked, like I do right here, if I were to upgrade a skill, which I'm waiting for the power increase part of the Mightiest Governor tomorrow to do that, what ends up happening is it randomly increases the level of an unlocked commander skill. Max skill level is 5. So if this guy's at 1 and is the only one unlocked, if I click this, it'll automatically upgrade this guy. Once this is at 5 and I make him a 2-star, then this guy will be unlocked. And because this is a 5, only this one can get upgraded. So you want to make sure you only star level the commanders that you're actually increasing their skill. Some commanders, like for example Minamoto, you can have a case of getting them from 1st star to 3 stars like that. And the reason for that is because his 3rd skill is very, very useful for what people usually use Minamoto for, which is the Barbarian's damage. So it would be okay once the 1st skill is maxed out to randomize between these two, because they're great skills. This is a cavalry increase for like march speed and attack. But you really, if you want to use them as the barbarian god or hunter, which a lot of people do, you really want this guy more than the 2nd skill. So that's a reason why to upgrade it to 3 stars. But you usually don't want to be doing that. So that's error number 5. Error number 4 is not really preparing for events. Events are very, very, very useful. As you guys can see, we have right now Rome going on and Victorious Heart going on, which have tons of different cool, pretty much free like rewards that you can get by just doing very basic things. Right here you guys can see that I'm so close with the tier 2 or higher training. I personally kind of didn't pay attention to this event because I really wanted to train some more tier 3s and perhaps tier 4s, and this is primarily, in my opinion, for tier 2s. Getting 3,000 tier 3s is super hard within 24 hours and it resets every day. But events like the Mightiest Governor really require you to think ahead and make sure you know the events well, and make sure you have all the resources, all the speed ups, all the everything you need, all the gems, whatever it is, to get through these events. there is gem spending events that give you huge free gifts. So if you're a person who was gonna spend gems anyway, and you know that you're gonna, I don't know, get like 100,000 gems, I don't know, and you decide you were gonna spend all those on blowing up, why don't you wait for the gem spending events, which happen every now and then? I think the max is 25,000 gems and it resets every day. You do 25,000 gems every day and it's free gifts. Make sure you guys are on top of the events. Some of them are recurring, like the Karak event, which I've been failing on twice now. The third time, I'm going to destroy it. There's not even a question. I was not ready for the first time. The second time, I thought I'd be doing the Mightiest Governor, which as you guys can see, I am not. It's a big pain in the butt. I tried to prepare for it, but there's absolutely no way to prepare for this. I mean, August, man. Stage 1, just 10 million points. That's... I couldn't. That's over 200,000 tier 4s. I was like, I don't have all that. So I gave up on this really quickly. As you can see, I didn't even bother starting with it. I figured that this would happen. I actually saw that someone else had like 4 million points in the beginning, and I waited till the evening to see whether I want or not I want to compete. And when I saw August did that, I was like, okay, well, that's not for me. Let's go to mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is a little bit of a rough one. It has to do with your alliance, and it has to do with being in the wrong alliance. A lot of people are in the wrong alliance for the wrong reasons, are in the right alliance for the wrong reasons, and they're just in the wrong place overall. There are 3 ways you can screw up the alliance that you're in. Either you're in a fantastic alliance full of assholes, scumbags, and trolls, which you make your life miserable and demand of you a ton of things, making your game absolutely no fun. Number 2 is that you're a big boy in a small alliance full of nice people that you really like, but you could be doing better. Alliances really help you grow. My alliance, Sons of Chaos, big shout out to those guys. They're unbelievable people. The resources that I had was their generosity. The way I made it to Castle 21 and just tier 4 researches is because of their kindness, is because they're super active, they're a little bit of spenders, and they were able to send me resources, which other alliances might try to do, but they can't do it at the highest pace. Because if you're a big guy and you need like 20 million of each resource and you're in an alliance where people are barely holding their nose above water, they just can't help you. The third thing that can happen, which is a very sad part, is that you might be in an alliance that's too big for you. Unfortunately, it is awesome to be in an alliance with take that unfortunately, okay? It is awesome to be in an alliance that has lots of spenders, big players. But if you can't keep up, and if you can't prove that you're part of them, even though you don't spend as much as they do, either your game will be very boring, or you will never grow as much as you want to grow, and eventually you'll get kicked because you're just not keeping up. Make sure you're in an alliance that has great people, a strong leader, strong officers, good people, people that you enjoy playing the game with. When I get on, the first thing I do is I click on the chat and look up to see what people have been talking about, and I get into conversations that happened 2 hours ago. If they're important, if they're interesting, if I like what's going on. You know how many times I lulled at something? I actually legit laughed at something that was posted 3 hours ago that just I was at work and didn't see. You gotta find a good alliance that will help you grow, that you will help it grow, that will make an impact on you just as much as you make an impact on it. For me, Sons of Chaos in the beginning was a little bit of a above my pay grade. I got in because I had 2 friends in here who recommended me. But I've been working super hard to make sure I keep up with these guys because I don't want to be the one letting them down. An alliance is as strong as its weakest player. And maybe as of right now, I'm the weakest player because I still haven't finished all the planning that I have. But trust me, I'm about to make a little bit of a move soon. So I might be the weakest player. Maybe. But I do have a substantial amount of kills. I'm always up for porting anywhere to fight. There has not been a war that I was awake that I did not try to get involved in any shape or form. And that's why my alliance is, in my opinion, the best one. And I hope that I'm giving back to my alliance just as much as I'm taking, or I'm giving back more than I'm taking at least. Make sure you select a good alliance, okay? It is super important. Let's go to the second most common mistake, and I'm gonna split this second and first, but you know what? Let's talk about it all as a chunk. I primarily said bad queue management as the second mistake, and the first mistake being your bag management. But we're gonna talk about both of them together because they're super important, and we can talk about them at the same time. There are things you got to be able to maintain consistently on a day-to-day basis in order to succeed in this game. One of them is your gathering. The other one is your building, your training, and your researching. These four are probably the most important things you got to keep up with on the day-to-day basis. Now, obviously, you want to click on these every now and then, just to make sure you make space for more, for them to show up. Not that it really matters, although there are quests and stuff like that, like daily things that you got to do by clicking these, so you got to do that as well. But anyway, let's talk about bag first. Your bag is pretty much your reserves. It is what allows you to blow up. It is what allows you to insta-heal mid-war. It is what allows you to make troops in mid-war. It's what allows you to do a ton of things. Your bag is the most precious thing in your whole in everything, okay? If you get zeroed, but you have a strong bag, you can go back like this, okay? So you want to make sure you always have a decent amount of resources. You guys can see my bag right here. I have a ton of these resource packs. Well, not a ton. I got a nice little amount that I've been saving up like this because I honestly see no reason to open them. I'd like to have backups. If I get hit right now and I lose all my resources, I still have these guys as backup. If I use all these resources healing mid a big war, I already have these as backup. The same thing goes for the gems and the rest of the resources, which I have a good amount of backup in my bag. Same thing goes to speed ups, where I have all these different speed ups of all these different types, including this one. The construction ones and the research ones are maybe less important to have as like an emergency thing, but these are very important. The healing ones are always very important, as well as the everything research, like speed ups, because you will never know when you'll need them. You might need to insta make troops, insta heal, insta build. I don't know, whatever you need to. A bag is super important. Same thing for your boosts. Guys, I have 3 24-hour shields, okay? Which I've never used. I've never used the shield, actually. I've used the shield once. I did accidentally shield once. Or twice, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. I have shields to spare. Why? Because they were for sale in the merchant, and when there was that event where the merchant was even cheaper, I got to the point where I bought 2 of these, one for 70% and one for 80% off on their price. I know KVK is coming sooner rather than later. I know KVK will be at least 24 hours, if not more. If I'm going to sleep, if it's more than 24 hours, if I'm going to sleep, if I don't know what, 8-hour shields might not be enough. So I said I'm gonna have a couple 24 hours, and if I need to, take a weekend off, I can log in once every day and just re-shield if I need to for in a huge war. I don't know. You want to have spare boosts ready to go. You want to buy them from the merchant if they're at a good discount to have some buffer in your bag. Same goes for others. Look at the amount of targeted teleports I have. I've been picking these up if I see them at a good price. Same thing with the randoms, and same thing with the territorial, which I've been using. The other thing is keys as well as obviously the potions. XP books are a no-brainer. You have to have them. I have my talent resets ready to go. Some of event chips. I wonder what happens if I use this. But you really want to have your bag very well set up. Manage it correctly. Make sure you are entering a lot of resources in it, a lot of speed ups into it, boosts and all that. It is super important to manage your bag. The same can be said about gathering, building, training, researching, okay? You want to make sure your training is there at all time. You want to make sure before you go to bed that you reset whichever ones are close that will probably end while you're asleep, and run another one. Spending the speed ups to finish one so you ensure that you can keep sleeping, okay, keep growing while sleeping is super important. Now, obviously, if you do the math and you know what, these troops will finish, let's say at 8 a.m. and I wake up at 8:30. For me to speed them up now, I'd have to spend 6 hours worth of speed ups because I went to bed at 2 a.m. It's not worth spending 6 hours for the half an hour, is it? For the half an hour downtime. Probably not. But more often than not, you'll find yourself in situations like this situation, right? Let's go with this situation right here, where at 11 or 12 a.m. at the midnight my time, this should be done, or at 1, I'm not even entirely sure based on time conversions. I think it's like 1:30, they'll be done. And now I might be awake, I might not be awake, but if I'm not awake and I'm awake at midnight, spending the hour and a half so it trains for another 6 hours is super important. The same goes for your construction and your researches. Construction, what I did is to reach Castle 21 took me a little while. I had everything ready except for my wall, which took a little while, and then the castle. So what I went and did is I asked my alliance mates, what's the next prerequisite for Castle 22? What's the prerequisite for Castle 23? For City Hall, I mean castle. Good lord. And then I found out that it was all about hospitals and all about the storehouse. So while I was leveling my level 21 castle, City Hall, holy lord, I already leveled these guys to level 20 to set them up and get them ready. I ended up finding out the hard way once this was unlocked and I was able to upgrade my my hospital 21, that it also requires archery range at 21. And when you go to the archery range, it requires freaking lumber mill. So I ended up getting stuck having to do these guys instead of just upgrading that the one time like I thought it would be. What'll end up happening is that in a day and some, if I don't speed up, this will get done. But these two will for sure not get done. Now look at this situation that I put myself in, okay? I have two options right here. I can either go for this guy again in 3 hours and 20 minutes, or I speed up whatever is left here, which will be in 11 hours to upgrade this guy. You know, so the way I will do it probably is I'll upgrade him, and I'll make sure to sync the training time left on the next batch that I'll do based on the time this will take, so I can start leveling this guy. I already know for level 23 I need the storehouse, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the storehouse because I'm going to need to anyway. So make sure you're in building specifically, it's very important for you guys to keep catching on. Don't go for these buildings to get them at a higher level. It will not help you. It will straight up not help you. These guys are level 5 and 6 because at level 5 and 6, if you click ask for help and one guy helps you, it's done. So I was like, screw it. But you can see that even my hospitals are not that high of a level, even though I probably should start getting them a little bit of a higher level. And I've been dying to upgrade my castle as well, which I can to get a higher rally capacity, but just you gotta manage your building correctly. The same goes for training, the same goes for researches. Both of those are a little bit easier to manage because it's all about when are you available to start the next one. Same thing goes for gathering, and gathering is the roughest one, okay? Gathering, every minute you're wasting is a shame. It will hurt you. You can get to a point where if you manage your gathering correctly, you can potentially gather, I think about, if you use all 4 all day long, you can gather probably like 5 or 6 million wood and food, I think. If you're doing it correctly and you're actually resetting them all the time, you can easily get that amount. But every minute throughout the day that you're not gathering is just a complete waste. Now, I've been having issues. I don't know why with my notifications. They're not very consistent. So I've been making an effort to figure out, you know, I look at what's the smallest time that I have, which is in 11 minutes. And I set an alarm on my phone in like 13 minutes, considering the walk back. So I go on and just really quickly send her out to gather again. This guy, the gathering guy, the gathering issue is the most important one. Let's put it this way. If you miss, let's say 2 or 3 potential, let's say a full set of 4 a day because you just didn't keep up with it, that can potentially be either 2 million wood and food. I think that would be 1.2 million stone or 500,000 gold a day. Okay? Think about that for a little bit. That's a lot. That's a lot to miss out on. That's really, really a lot to miss out on. So make sure you manage your gathering correctly. Let's recap this video because it's already long as hell. Number 5, leveling up your commanders ahead of time. Don't do it. Make sure your skills are where they are before your levels. Skills are more important. Sculptures are harder to get. I know it's very tempting to just max them out level-wise and get the talents and all that. Not worth it. Trust me. Number 2, we said it was not preparing for events. Oh, well, number 4, really. Not preparing for events. Prepare for your events. Make sure you do the right events. Make sure you get the sculptures. Make sure you get all the rewards because it is super useful. Free stuff. Mistake number 3 is not being in the right guild. A bigger guild than you that's too big for you, too small for you, too nice of a people, too bad of a people. It's all factors. Don't be shy to quit alliance and go to another one. Don't be shy to upgrade your alliance. I started with SKM, Scumbags, and those guys are really cool. I really like Chaotic, the leader there. I really liked a bunch of members there. But at some point I realized that it was just not the right fit for me, because I'm staying because of the people and not because of what we're accomplishing as an alliance. And we were accomplishing, but I was seeing other alliances bullying us, fighting us, making us do things that we didn't want to do, and I didn't feel like being in that position. Nowadays SKM is part of the Sons of Chaos Alliance, so obviously I still get to talk to them, and we went on to help them in a little bit of a war a couple of days ago. But yeah, make sure you're in your right alliance. Don't be shy to get out. Don't be shy to switch. There is no such thing as, someone once told me, like, you're a traitor or like guild alliance hopping. Just change your name, everything will work. Don't worry about it. It's some BS. Mistake number 2 and 1 that are combined is mismanaging your queues and bag. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. Gather. Build. Train. Freaking research out the bazoon and make sure your bag is healthy, because at any point, at any time, some alliance can come and say, hey man, I'm about to wreck your life out, and they could wreck you. And if you don't have the backups ready to handle the situation, they won't let you gather, obviously. And your alliance like center, resource center thing is only of one set of resources. So what are you gonna do? If you don't have a bag, you're screwed. You're going to have to go gather and make sure your gatherers come back and be on alert to make sure they're not getting attacked. It's a headache. A bag management is probably the one, in my opinion, bag management and gathering management is probably the top thing. And the common mistake is that people are just not managing them correctly. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys disagree with me? Was this video too long? I think so, wasn't it? Anyway, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about my top 5 common mistakes. Have you made any of them? Do you have any other mistake you think should be in this list that wasn't? I'm the Gekko. I'm out of here. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I also wanted to thank Rise of Civilizations for sponsoring this video. Until the next time, peace.